And joining us in the studio tonight, once again, Dr. Brian Shoup, the head of the Mississippi State University's Political Science Department. Dr. Shoup sat with us tonight, watched that debate. First, let's just get your overall take. Who do you think was really strong in this debate?
I think the general consensus is going to be that former President Trump probably had the better debate tonight. He certainly seemed to be more energetic. And there were certainly moments where President Biden looked like he was stumbling quite a bit. And I think that image, and since imaging can be so important in politics, there certainly is that dynamic that I think is at play. That being said, there were moments where President Biden was cogent and able to make solid policy points, as was also the case on occasion with former President Trump. Well, what struck me was the inability of both of the candidates to really always keep themselves on target to the specific thing that was being asked. I noticed quite a bit that the moderators had to ask either of the candidates to go back and answer the questions that had initially been posed.
So where do we go from here?
Well, that'll be an interesting thing. The scuttlebutt right now, obviously, is that there is concern among some Democrats about President Biden's ability to continue over the next few weeks. I don't think that Donald Trump is going to be having that problem with his base. He's pretty much the undisputed leader of the Republican Party. That being said, politics is a strange thing, and as we've learned over the course of the past several electoral cycles, a lot can happen over the next few weeks and months. I think what's really important is for American people to look at these debates, critically reflect on the issues that are important to them, and how they think that either of the candidates' policy positions can help them, their families, and their communities.
What are some of the things, the issues that really stuck out to you tonight?
That's a good question. I think one of the things that struck me initially was that there was some focus on policy. And for the first parts of the debate, the moderators were attempting, and I think being somewhat successful, to kind of remain on target with those policy issues. The problem, unfortunately, is that it sort of broke away from that. The candidates clearly had issues that they wanted to talk about that sort of transcended the sorts of topics that I think the CNN moderators wanted to look at. And one of the consequences of that is it didn't really come across as a very disciplined debate, to my mind.
You mentioned in our discussion on WTVA 9 News at 6 that we are a long way away from the November general election. Does what happen, in your opinion, does what happened tonight stick, or could the second debate possibly change perceptions? What do you see?
Well, yeah, and I think that one of the things we look back to is the 2020 debates. There were 3 debates, and in the initial one, Donald Trump, by most people's account, lost. But he sort of came back and won that second debate by some people's assessment because he sort of kind of tried to draw himself in and didn't really interrupt as much. It's very possible we could see a similar change in a second debate. The problem, unfortunately, is that it's very hard to assess, I think, in the public's mind, kind of a consistent narrative, because it is so early. It's June. We don't normally do these debates until far later in the fall. But I think, you know, politics being what it is these days, what we're really looking for are those kind of viral moments. And I think that this debate probably had a couple.
We talked a lot about the rules of this particular debate, that mute button.
Yep.
How do you think that played into tonight?
You know, I honestly don't know that it made a tremendous difference. It's certainly the case that it was an attempt to sort of keep both of the candidates on track. But by my own kind of count, and I confess it wasn't very scientific, there were several moments where clearly it wasn't really being enforced or effectuated. And one of the consequences of that is we did have those moments where the debate did seem to kind of deviate from the topics that we were supposed to be hearing about.
Dr. Brian Shoup is over the Political Science Department at Mississippi State University. Thank you so much for your insight. I know not just on the air, but off the air, before we got into the debate, heard a fascinating insight from you, and we appreciate you taking time out on this night.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, and I want to say thank you very much.
Thank you very much.